Good Wednesday morning. In our last couple of videos, I have been addressing the book of John. And during some conversations over the past week in regards to the idea of John as the disciple of love, the question came up, so what does it mean to love in John's description? And so this morning, I want to share a few verses from Matthew to begin this video. From Matthew chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. When the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked Jesus a question to test him. "Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest?" He said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all of the law and the prophets." So, what does it mean to love the neighbor as the self? I think sometimes when we think of the word love, we're thinking about little cupids flying around with bows and arrows and striking us in the heart where our eyes go googly and our hearts pitter-patter. But there are many different definitions of love in the ancient Greek language, which the New Testament was written in. There's a difference between me loving ice cream, loving the Green Bay Packers, versus loving my family, versus loving a partner. And so these different words that are translated as love in the English language, there are a lot of them, but three main versions show up in the Bible. One is eros. The word eros is translated in our Bibles as love, but it means a sexual, intimate, and passionate type of emotion. One that you would have with your partner. And then there is philia. And philia love is a love that you would have for family. With your best friend, your BFF. Someone who you trust enough to share most of your secrets. And then there is agape. Agape love is a love for all humanity. It is an equal respect, a compassion, empathy, support for others, to recognize that they are equal in God's eyes to ourselves. And that is the version of love that is being used in this text, to love the neighbor as the self. We don't typically look in the mirror and think eros when we see ourselves. At least I don't. And the agape love, though, it means that I am going to give as much credence, as much love, as much respect to another person as I would want for myself. And that can challenge us, because suddenly we have to think about those people that we tend to look over, to ignore, maybe even look down upon. And that may even be unintentional, but it happens. So those people who belong to a different political party that we just go like this with, they are loved by God, and we are called to have agape love for them, to want the best for them like we would want the best for us. To look at the homeless person downtown and not to think that we are better, or that because we have accomplished more, or that we are more successful, that we are therefore more acceptable to God, that person is equally acceptable to God as ourselves. That person in prison who has committed a heinous crime and is serving out their sentence. While God does not necessarily, well, God does not appreciate the actions whatsoever, but God's love and compassion and empathy for that individual is just as equal as it is for you and I. And then it requires us to think about, well, why do we compare ourselves to other people? Why do we have categories set up? Why do we try to differentiate between us and other people? And in many cases, it is a way for us to try to justify ourselves as being acceptable or more acceptable than someone else. So today, think about those three types of love: eros, philia, and agape. And how does this understanding of love affect how we live, how we act, and how we talk to other people? God bless you. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll be back next Monday. Goodbye.